Hello there. It used to be said that our armed forces were led by donkeys. Now they're led by rats and double dealers. Forget the hype surrounding HMS Diamond and its very laudable activities in shooting down Houthi rockets and missiles in the Red Sea. The crew is obviously well trained and motivated in doing the job of defending our sea lanes and trade routes. But according to the UK Defence Journal, there are serious question marks over the ability for HMS Diamond to maintain a sustained fight due to the lack of missiles on board. Now, in the past, we would have expected a resupply of fuel, food and ammunition, such as missiles, to come from an on-station Royal Fleet auxiliary vessel, an RFA. But guess what? The UK Defence Journal is also reporting that for the first time ever in the modern era, the Royal Navy has no active supply ships and currently depends entirely on allies for the replenishment of stores, including ammunition at sea. That means the Royal Navy has no ability to operate aircraft carriers and warships independently anywhere in the world. We would not be able to embark on any serious mission unless we could convince another nation with that capability to get involved. And that has further ramifications. How could we send troops on independent missions if we had no independent sea-borne air power to accompany them? And then we'd have to put all the food, fuel and ammo into a foreign supply ship, and where the storage of ammunition is concerned, that foreign supply vessel would have to be capable of safely holding UK stocks, and then be capable of safely transporting that ammunition from one ship to the other by replenishment at sea, or RAS as it's known, while making way in not ideal weather in a potential combat zone, with the rest of the crew ready to break the RAS at speed and defend against any attack. It is something that is manpower intensive, very dangerous unless conducted correctly, and takes a lot of training. And this lack of the independent capability to RAS comes after dire story after dire story of how woefully our government system has handled armed forces equipment procurement, personnel recruitment and retention, as well as looking after their families and welfare. Everything looks to me like our armed forces are being deliberately set up by our government system to fail. But it's not those in the armed services behind all this, not the senior ranks either. Why would any serving officer want to destroy that of which they are a part? It seems to me that those at the top of the serving command structure have been deliberately disconnected from the defence decision-making process. And none of these issues is an isolated event. They are all connected, seemingly in a manner to ensure that UK defence hits and plummets through rock bottom. And this comes just as the Defence Secretary Grant Shapps is talking about the UK needing to be ready to fight wars with China, Russia, North Korea and Iran within the next 5 years. So some big questions for the Defence Secretary Grant Shapps, as well as the likes of the MOD Permanent Secretary David Williams and the National Security Advisor Tim Barrow. The first question is, who is going to do all the fighting? The second question is, what are they going to fight with? And the third question is, why is there no immediate announcement on a massive defence spending uplift together with a massive recruitment drive? But we haven't had a massive defence uplift, not even a hint of it. So the next politician who says the words Global Britain can shove them where the sun don't shine. There is no Global Britain without a truly global Royal Navy, because we would not be able to project the power to defend our interests, unless someone else came with us, of course. Oh, and it's not just the Tories. The whole of Parliament and the civil service as it stands today is complicit in all these failures. For a start, there's the House of Commons Defence Select Committee, chaired by Sarah Atherton, Tory. And then there's Richard Drax, Tory, Kevin Jones, Labour, Jess Norman, Tory, John Speller, Labour, Martin Doherty-Hughes, SNP, Mark Francois, Tory, Emma Lewell-Buck, Labour, Gavin Robinson, DUP, Derek Twigg, Labour. And we have the same sort of mix in the House of Lords International Relations and Defence Committee, chaired by Lord Ashton, Tory, Lord Boateng, Labour, Baroness Cousins, Crossbench, Lord Robertson, Labour, Lord Stirrup, Crossbench, Lord Wood, Labour, Lord Anderson, Labour, Lord Campbell, Lib Dem, Baroness Morris, Tory, Lord Soames, Tory, Lord Tiverton, Lib Dem. You cannot tell me that they are not aware of all of this. They must all be completely aware, all the parties. They all know the parlous state of our armed forces, but seem to want to keep their beaks shut. I suppose they'd use the argument that we'd better keep quiet so that Vladimir Putin never finds out. I doubt the likes of Vladimir Putin needs to listen to our politicians to know the state of the UK armed forces. Anyway, I had a quick look back at the recent publications from these two committees, and there seems to be no real concern about recruitment there, and nothing about the lack of even one RFA, something that should be a national scandal, to add to all the other national scandals that are coming out of the woodwork right now. So what is going on? As they say, si vis pacem para bellum. If you want peace, prepare for war. And as George Orwell said, people sleep peaceably in their beds at night only because rough men stand ready to do violence on their behalf. There is no such thing as minimum deterrence. Having just a few bombs and soldiers ready to go in a couple of weeks stops no one. Deterrence needs maximum deterrence at all levels, from intelligence to tactical to strategic. It must be made plain and clear to any potential aggressor that any action by them against the UK and its interests would quickly become too expensive for them in blood and treasure. I defy any politician to try and argue differently, because all they can say right now is that we will have to hide behind the skirts of the US or any other friendly state we can find to help us. At the end of the day, we will very soon be presented, with the agreement of just about all the above politicians, with a fait accompli, that we are now part of a defence union and no longer have control of our own foreign policy or even our own country, despite Brexit. And I'll leave you to decide which Brussels that defence union will be with. I'm left wondering if all these dire warnings from Shapps, coupled with no defence uplift, is just fear-mongering to get us to accept that defence union. But the people have the right to know before this happens. They have the right to know and decide whether our armed forces will in future come under the total command of a foreign power, and that foreign power could send our troops to war. But the establishment knows what would happen if they went public on that, and it would not be pretty for them. But prepare for it to happen anyway.